Good afternoon, everyone. When you're at the grocery store, do you ever think about where milk, cheese, or beef comes from? Of course, from cows, but there are a lot of things that happen between the farm and the grocery store. Today, I will be informing you about the cows and the byproducts of these cows. For example, beef, milk, and waste. If you don't consume meat for one day, you will save 1,100 gallons of water, 45 pounds of grain, 30 square feet of forested land, and 20 pounds of carbon dioxide. According to Kip Anderson, the average American consumes 290 pounds of meat per year. After doing extensive research, I consider myself a self-proclaimed expert on the subject. I will be going over dairy cows, beef cows, and methane released by these cows. First, I will be talking about dairy cows and the process of producing milk from these cows. More than 9.3 million cows were used to produce milk in 2008. Like humans, cows must be impregnated to produce milk. Cows in the dairy industry spend their lives in a constant cycle of impregnation, birth, and milking, with just a few months of rest in between pregnancies. After birth, the calf is taken away. If the cow is male, it cannot produce milk, so it is sold for meat. Cows are taken away within hours of birth. After separation, both mother and calf become stressed and sick. Calves cry for their mothers until their throats become raw. Cows have a normal lifespan of 20 years, where a dairy cow averages a lifespan of 5 years. In 2007, the average cow in the dairy industry was forced to produce more than 20,000 pounds of milk in 1 year. After 5 years, these cows are deemed useless and sent to the slaughterhouse to be used for their meat. Next, I will be talking about cows used for beef and the process of producing beef from these cows. After being seen as a byproduct of the dairy industries, some baby calves are kept in tiny crates where they cannot move. Not being able to move keeps the meat tender. After a few months, these calves are sold as veal. In 2008, more than 2.5 million cows were slaughtered for their meat. All adult and baby cows, whether raised for flesh or their milk, are eventually shipped to the slaughterhouse and killed. Now that we know about the good stuff from cows, let's talk about the bad stuff. One dairy cow produces approximately 120 pounds of waste every day. Methane is a byproduct of waste that is released when cows belch, pass gas, and poop. When fed soy-rich diets, as most large dairy herds are, cows belch methane, which traps 20 times more atmospheric heat than carbon dioxide. The U.S. Food and Agriculture Organization says that agricultural methane output could increase 60% by 2030. Methane is the second largest cause of greenhouse gases in our environment. There are many studies being conducted to determine if cows are the reason for global warming. Most causes of methane are man-made, but cows are currently responsible for 18% of greenhouse gas emissions, and transportation exhaust is responsible for 13% of greenhouse gas emissions. Methane is released through chemical reaction in the atmosphere, but can stay in the atmosphere for up to 12 years. Today you all learned a little bit about the process dairy cows and beef cows go through and methane released from these cows. Next time you're shopping for groceries, you'll have a little food for thought. as you reach for your favorite milk or beef product. All we see is nicely packaged items, but never inform ourselves on what or where it came from. Thank you.